Hello guys, and welcome to another World of Tanks tank review with me, Scopetactics. Today, we're reviewing the Tier 5 British self-propelled gun, the Bishop. And we're going to be going over why it is a very unique tank. A niche, if you will, in the British line. But first, as always, let's take a run through the stats. 350 hit points is very generous for an artillery, especially this tier. Yeah, you don't see health of that magnitude for artillery until at least tier 6 or 7 in most lines. Engine power, only 165. It's a very slow tank. Don't expect to go 24 kilometers an hour as usual unless you're going downhill. Expect to reach about 15 on average on flat ground. 22 degrees, hull traverse speed, not the best, is pretty sluggish. And here comes some of the quirks of the Bishop. The armour, 60 at the front and rear, 50 at the sides. Is slightly worse than the actual Valentine chassis it's based on, with a 10 less side hull armour, I believe. View range, 300 meters, not bad. You are in an artillery, so you can't expect great view range. 550 meter signal range is perfectly adequate for a tier 5 machine. Let's take a quick look at the research tree. So there's not much to research. It's hardly worth bothering researching the engines because it goes from an increase from 135 to 165 horsepower. The radio is, you pretty much want that. It's unlocked on a wide variety of the other British machines, so chances are you've already got it if you played the British before. Now the guns. Interestingly, I will bring up both guns because both are viable options. The interesting thing here is, the first gun, the 25-pounder gun, has a faster firing rate, lower penetration with the high explosive rounds, 280 damage with the high explosive rounds, better accuracy and the same aiming time. Why am I bothering showing you this 25-pounder gun where he's got the 4.5-inch howitzer? Well, the 4.5-inch howitzer, although it does 450 damage and 57 penetration, it can only use high explosive shells. This gun, on the other hand, will use armour piercing, both premium and standard, as well as high explosive. So that's somewhat of a viable option if you want to use it. Personally, I'd recommend sticking with the howitzer. High explosive is generally what you want to be using in artillery, unless, you know, something is fairly heavily armoured and you know you've got the armour piercing penetration to get through it. But even then, you don't really want to ding in artillery, especially since the update. So it's a decent gun. One other thing I should mention is, although this is slow, fairly well armoured, well, it's about the same armoured as the Durchbruchswagen 2, or the DW2. It's actually got better armour than the DW2, but I'm not sure if that applies to this sort of box construction on top. I think that's only the hull. I think the turret is actually fairly weak. There are actually no weak spot viewers available for this tank, so I have no idea where the weak spots are. But you are an artillery, so I suppose that's not entirely necessary to be worried about. Right, two things to note about the gun. The Bishop and the self-propelled gun after it, the FV304, have around half of the standard range of, you know, half the standard firing range of other tanks in its tier. The Bishop has a maximum effective range of around 500 meters, and so does the FV304. But it does have an unusually high arc, so you can use the gun arc to get over houses and mountains and certain hills and obstacles, where other vehicles will sit behind and think they're safe from you, which they won't be. Because a lot of people don't have much experience in fighting the Bishop and the FV304s. They are fairly new and not many people have used them. Not the Bishop anyway. The FV304 is fairly popular because that's even more quirky than the Bishop. One other thing I should note is that the gun arc, or gun traverse of this tank is pretty terrible. It goes from about there to there. It's got a terrible gun arc. I couldn't even tell you how many degrees either side it is. I could probably find out that information if I wanted to, but all you need to know is it's terrible. The best way to learn a tank is from experience, after of course watching a review by someone as myself. Now next, equipment. Now this tank is fairly big. I don't think camouflage will help you out much because there's not many bushes in the game that will cover a tank of this size. I'd suggest having a medium caliber artillery shell rammer, improved ventilation class 1, and enhanced gun lane drive. Now these two are fairly expensive pieces of equipment, the gun rammer and the drive, but the improved ventilation class 1 is only around 50,000 credits. So you should definitely consider mounting that at least. Now as always, on the crew skills, just get them all up here. As you can see, my crew are only like 76%. I didn't even train them up from I didn't even give them training at the beginning. I was using it from 50%. I don't know why. Anyway, skills. For the loader, I'd probably go with repairs, camo, or brothers in arms. Probably repairs, actually. The driver, definitely clutch braking, because that'll give you that was weird then, it was giving me a different thing. Yeah, clutch braking is a skill, so it comes in at the start. If you do want to see a comprehensive breakdown of the skills, I have a complete crew skills guide on my channel. Be sure to check that out if you want different opinions on the different skills. But clutch braking, very good. Especially with tank destroyers and artillery. I wouldn't really recommend anything else. Unless you wanted to go with repair or brothers in arms. The gunner, snapshot won't do you any good if you haven't got a turret. I'd recommend Deadeye. But since that's a perk, until you get Deadeye, go with repairs. Or brothers in arms. But brothers in arms is a perk anyway, so go with repairs first. Repair or camouflage. You could go with camouflage, I guess. If you really wanted to, chuck everybody in camouflage and put a net on as well, if you want cheaper equipment that's still usable. Because I know not everybody can afford an enhanced gun lane drive on an artillery shell rammer at tier 5. So the commander, who is also the radio operator, I would situational awareness I'd choose, or maybe recon. Mentor's good as well. I'd probably recommend mentor over everything else, then switch it out for Sixth Sense. Because these aren't really much benefit, and Brothers in Arms doesn't activate until you get 100%. So I'd recommend Mentor to get everybody else up faster. And that's it for the Bishop. I've got 2 or 3, I think it's just 2 good replays for you, so let's jump into one of those right now. Here we are guys, an encounter battle on Ensk. We're top tier in our Bishop, which is a nice change. Looking pretty good for us. Decent matchup. Now switch the icons around to make it easier for you guys to see what's going on. Just speed up the opening sequence here. So I've been playing the Bishop for a while, and I wanted to see if I could play to his strengths, and seeing how well it could actually arc its shots over buildings. But I knew I wouldn't be much use out in the open, so I go into the fairly undefended town. There don't seem to be many people coming with us. As you can see, this tank is fairly slow. But it does actually reach 20 kilometers an hour, I think, on flat ground, which is fairly surprising. I tried to get a shot at this Wolverine here, but it just isn't happening. He's just staying there. But you can see there the pretty terrible traverse of this gun. Try and get a shot in the T-49, but I tried to predict where he's going, but it's no good. Try for another shot in the Wolverine. just speed this up because I think I just spend the majority of this time trying to get a shot on those who tank destroyers, but I can't actually get over the train cars. I think I do manage to get a shot off in this Marder 38T though. Yep, just had to take the chance there. The Bishop has a fairly small area in which you can hit, so it's fairly accurate. You can take those miracle shots. I decided to go for the Hetzer here, because he doesn't seem to know I'm here. And we get a good shot into him, I think. You can tell if it hits because there won't be any explosion around the area. The shell will just kind of disappear. So that's how you can tell if you've got a hit on somebody. See this T-40 coming from the side there? I try and wait for him, but he's a bit smarter than that, I think. He seems to be just waiting there. I think I take a random shot, hoping he'd try and poke around the corner and see if I can catch him unaware. But I don't think that works. Am I just waiting for him? I don't think he comes around. As you can see, apart from this heavy tank up there, I'm pretty much alone, and he's not doing too well. So I decide, you know, bugger it, I can't just sit here waiting for that T-40 to come around and probably kill me. So I try and be a bit aggressive. I actually forget how much armour the Bishop has until we see these guys be here and we start getting shot at. But I see the T-40, I see the other two tank destroyers up there, and I'm starting to get a little bit apprehensive. But you want to shot the T-40, and I see the DW2 come around and start taking shots at me. So I think the smartest thing I can do is use this T-40 for cover and try and get shots off. I'm not sure if that's a different Hetzer, but if it isn't, that isn't the one we hit earlier. No, it isn't a different... Well, it might have been. I don't know. But we do get a shot off on the Hetzer and take off just over half his health. And I'm just trying to not remain stationary here. So we can try and bounce. We are getting hit, and we are on 1 HP. Just pause it for a second and see what all those shots are bouncing off. And as I thought, they are bouncing off the thick armour just around the gun. So fairly lucky there. But we do wait, we do survive. And there's a tank destroyer over there, the Marder 38T. He thinks he can get an easy kill on me because I'm on 1 HP. He thought wrong. So this was actually a very nice game in the Bishop. Just showing you how that it can perform well in short to medium range as well as long range encounters because of its gun. You can think of it as kind of like a T-40. Anyway, that was one good game. Now let's go to the prize jewel of the replays. I'll jump into my Mastery Badge gameplay. I'll see you there. And here's our second replay. An encounter battle on El Haluf. We are mid-tier. Well, if you want to call being in the bottom half of a game mid-tier rather. There's only one tier 4 on our team. So I am basically bottom tier, but thank God there aren't any tier 7s in here. So the short range of the Bishop is a bit of a problem on this map, but as everybody knows, they all tend to group up around A2, A3, well, A1, A2, A3 here. So I think that my best chance is to go there right away. I'm just switching back into the view here to see how close I need to get to actually be able to get shots off on that choke point. The speed up here as I get into position. So I see the Nashorn there, I think it's a Nashorn. And I see the T-34 and I think, oh well, this could be a good position to get into. I can cover the cap and possibly the other parts of the valley. Just want to make sure I'm hidden behind the rocks, so I don't want to take any stray fire aimed at those tank destroyers. So I'm just waiting at this point, seeing what's going to come up that hill to get to the choke point. Pretty confident that I can't get any shots off onto the other side of the valley. And we see the KV-1S. So I aim in on him, he doesn't seem to want to move, tell my team I'm attacking him, and take a shot there because I think he's still there. I think we just missed that one. We try to take a shot on the 3001P, but doesn't seem to want to go there. Try and lead the T49 a little bit, but he's just too far into the hill. So the next best thing we can do is start putting shots into this Sherman Jumbo. Definitely want to prioritise the KV-1S, it's a very dangerous tank. I know we've got a lot of heavies up there, but we want to keep putting shots into him just so he doesn't get to put that gun of his to use. And when we can't shoot the KV-1S, we can put fire on the Sherman Jumbo. KV-1S has been destroyed, so that's one big threat taken care of. The 3001P is still putting fire on onto the flag though. We've got somebody sitting on it to counterbalance the enemy team member who's sitting on the cap. So it's basically just shooting fish in a barrel at this point. They probably know they're getting hit by artillery, but they don't know where from. Try and get a shot in the SU-85 just to help out the Type 58 on the cap, but I think he gets destroyed before I get a shot off. Nope, we actually finish him off. Hit him for 188. Back to the matter at hand. As you can see, there are lots of fairly heavily armoured tanks mounted here now. The 3001P has also gone up to put his short 88 to good use. Forget how many shots he put in this Sherman Jumbo, but he's just getting ripped apart. And the T1 Heavy actually destroyed our Type 58 on the cap, unfortunately. And one thing you will get with the Bishop is you'll rarely hit the 450 damage the gun is capable of. You'll regularly hit sub 100 damage counts, and you'll hit the lower end. But the thing is, the rate of fire and the accuracy allows you to keep up sustained barrages. Something you want to get used to in the FV304. I've heard that the FV304 is basically a Bishop with the same gun, but with a more accurate and faster rate of fire on it, and it's much, much faster. You want to think of it as an artillery variant of the ELC AMX. Anyway, we turn our attention back to the choke point. Get a shot in the T1 Heavy. Just trying to help out the team as much as possible here. We don't want to lose this choke point. Now they are capturing the base, but it's going up so slow that it's not a problem yet. We can focus on taking out these guys, then move our attention to the base. I'm aiming for the back of the T1 Heavy there to see if I can get a shot on his engine deck at the back, where the armour is fairly weak. British tanks, I know the T1 Heavy isn't a British tank for you say, but British tanks are notorious for having a very thin armour on top, especially the tank destroyers. So the T1 Heavy gets destroyed by us. Get a lovely hit for 200 on the 3001P there. And you can see the cap still is very, very slowly going up, so it's not much of a problem. Just keep putting fire on the 3001P and try and get him out of the way so our team can advance on the cap and reset it. As you can see, our one shot did hit the side of the mountain there, so we went a little bit low. Our shot went a bit wide there and actually hit the rear of the 3001P again. Did a nice chunk to him. And we see the T150 coming round. But I do start to try and focus on the M6 now to try and reset the cap. We just can't seem to get a shot on him. I try and get a shot off with try and hit him with splash damage when it hits the rock, but the Bishop does have very low splash damage anyway. Nashorn bravely rushes in to try and hold off the cap. He takes a hit from most likely the T-34 judging by the damage. But he gets destroyed by the T-150, which is sitting around the corner from the choke point. So I'm still trying to aim at this M6, he just got tracked and the cap's been reset, which is good. So I turn my attention back to this T-150, who's having a go at our pretty battered team there. Important thing you should note in artillery. You should always let your team know when you're attacking somebody and when you are reloading. You can press T when you're highlighting an enemy tank to let the team know you're attacking them, press F8 to let your team know you're reloading. So it could save their lives if they know that artillery is going to take the next shot. Or if some people are idiots, they'll try and steal a kill and get destroyed in the process before you can destroy them, and then the enemy tank will get away because it changes position. So we're just waiting there for our T-150 to spot the enemy T-150. Because I don't want him to take any unnecessary damage. He's still on full health. He's got 3 kills. No, that's the enemy team. Fair play to the enemy team's T-150. Our T-150 is on 1 kill, you know, he's still respectable. And he's on 100% health. But it looks like the T-150 has retreated down the hill and maybe gone towards the cap. No, he's sitting there. So I do take a pretty rushed shot and I do get a splash damage on him. If I had hit him on his engine deck, I'm pretty confident they could have killed him right there. But we do need to take him out because our T-150 is taking a bit of a battering. So I shoot there, get another one into the back of him, 90 damage. He's 1 shot away from defeat. I think we miss our next shot on him. Yeah, we shoot and he reverses back and we just miss him. But this next shot will send him back to the garage and our T-150 will escape on 64% health. Oh no. False alarm. It's our next shot to guess him actually. As you can see, I'm nearly always letting my team know who I'm attacking and when I'm reloading. This T-150 is just sitting back playing defensively while I try and take him out. And you've noticed this battle I have burned through my ammunition. I think we started off with 32 rounds, I think, and now we're on 5. I'll let my team know I've only got 5 shots left. I can see the M6 pushed out that guy there, so I was ready to shoot him, but our teammate took care of him. And this is where problems arise. Because as you can see, I just don't have the range to shoot onto the other side of the valley. So I try and get myself into position, but it doesn't do a whole lot of good. So I think I try and head down behind the rocks, closer to the middle of the map. Now if you don't know already, when you're going down steep drops like that, you can survive without ripping your tracks off and doing any damage to yourself by holding reverse while you're dropping down. I see that T-3485 there is the last one alive and he's worrying me a bit because he is tier 6 and our team is fairly battered and bruised. But I don't want to get shot by him at the same time, so I try and stay behind the rock. But our SU-85 does set him on fire and finishes him off, and that was a good game. That was actually my Mastery Badge game. So, let's jump back to the garage and have a quick review of the Bishop and see what's coming up next. And that was our look at the Bishop, a very niche self-propelled gun halfway up the British self-propelled gun line. A few things to note. As I said, these replays will be available on the World of Tanks replay site, which I'll put a link up to next, in the description of course. And I'm going to put a poll in every video from now on, so you can vote for what you want to see. And I know I'm not putting up much content for these reviews, so what I was thinking is, if you guys wanted, I could put up, say, I don't know, my three random replays or live commentaries, like a day, or maybe 2. I could definitely manage to do that, because, you know, there's nothing in a live commentary, is there? So if you guys wanted, I could do that. You know, you'll see any sort of random tanks. I could be playing absolutely anything, from the Tog in a platoon to something like the Churchill gun carrier. So yeah, polls will be in the description. I'll probably just put up the replays anyway, because you guys probably want to see that, don't you? I'll put up a poll and you can vote for which tanks you want to see reviewed next, or whatever you want. Maybe you want a beginner's guide, a sequel to the crew skills. Anyway, let me know what you want to see in the comments, vote in the poll. Visit the World of Tanks replay site if you want to download any of my replays and watch what I did. As always, if you found the video helpful, please leave a like. It helps me out immensely. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about it, how I could improve, what you thought was shit. And please subscribe for more content in the future. As always, I've been Scopetactics, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.